Welcome back to the Navy Sports Magazine. As the calendar flips to 2020, one of the few sports that hasn't had any activity yet here during this winter sports season is our Navy Gymnastics team. That's about to change, though, coming up this weekend as they will head to West Point for the West Point Open with head coach Kip Simons. And through a full cycle in terms of students for your program finally here, thoughts on the time you arrived to where things are now as you're in your fifth season here in Annapolis with the important things, the culture and the work ethic and the things you've been able to instill in your program and have had now gymnasts who've been a full cycle through that now.
Sure. Yeah, each year, I think the level of our recruits is what's helping move the program forward. We're getting the right guys in, guys that understand this institution, understand the mission, understand the academic rigors. And so it allows them to get in the gym, compartmentalize while they're there, train, forget about academics and just focus on gym. When things are going wrong outside the gym, it really, takes their mind away from things. But, I think as we enter into my fifth recruiting cycle, we're looking at bringing 7 guys in for next year. We've got to replace a big class. We've got 5 firsties that are moving on. And so we're going to need about 7 to replace those 5. But, the culture is continues to get better. We're always have that underdog mindset. And that's the way we want to stay. We want to stay humble. We want to stay hungry. And we just want to be the underdogs.
Over the past couple of seasons here, who have been some of the guys that have been really responsible in helping you establish, this winning culture now that exists within the program, and with winning culture becomes expectations that culture is going to continue.
Yeah. From an athlete standpoint, you got to give it to one of our firsties, Ryan Orse. I think he's a 3-time hardest worker award winner. At the end of every year, we hand out those awards, and he's just the ultimate blue collar guy. Nothing flashy about him. He does 4 events for us, and there's no ego with Ryan. He just comes to work every single day and gets the job done for us. When his hand goes up, in the competition that he's going to get it done, and he's not worried about his own individual performance. It's whatever the team needs. And, if we've got to sit him, he's fine with that. He understands that sometimes we have to give those opportunities to some of the plebes, get them some experience out there. Ryan will do whatever the team needs. And I think Ryan Orse has been one of those guys. David Toussaint, a junior, has really come into his own and had a pretty nasty arm break right after his senior year in high school. So actually took a 13th year to recover with his arm and come in. He was a medical turnback, but he's hitting his full stride now, and I expect him to be doing 4 events for us this competitive season. Frank Bradley's another guy that his leadership has really been really strong for us this year, and of course Lucas Beltran as well. I would say almost the entire senior class, and we're going to feel the pain when those 5 seniors move on.
As you have continued, I'm sure for you it's a learning experience every year, having come to the Naval Academy. From where you started to where you are now, how much better is it as you attack each day, and certainly the recruiting part of it here at the Naval Academy?
You just can't keep the bar high enough, for these guys. And I'll tell you, it challenges me on a daily basis, to make sure that complacency will kill you, right? It will kill a program. And so just making sure that you stay hungry, making sure that the coaching staff stays hungry, making sure the guys stay hungry. But, there's no quitting these guys. And coming off of arguably our best season in the history of Navy Gymnastics last year, that's been a challenge, and say, okay, well, sometimes when you have a rough year, it's pretty easy to dig in and say, well, we didn't have the right personnel, or it was injuries or whatever. But we had one of the best years last year. And so now how do you build upon that? And again, you just keep raising the bar and never let yourself get complacent.
I was going to say there were some competitions that you guys hadn't won in over a decade that you took last year. Obviously, you win the Star Meet. You get a chance to get, a warm-up of sorts and compete at the West Point Open this weekend. While it's not direct competition team-wise against Army, how good is that to get a place like that, to get those competitive juices going here for the 2020 season?
Oh, yeah. I love it. I love going up there because, Penn State's going to be there. And that's kind of our goal, is to start digging into those Big Ten programs. And so I want to kind of measure ourselves and see where we're at against Penn State. but certainly going to have eyes on Army and see what they're bringing to the table here in the first meet of the season right out of the gates, because in 3 weeks later, they're going to be down here for the star meet. And, you can never sleep on Army. I know they're going to be well prepared. They're going to be ready to go. It's our job to bring it home 3 years in a row here, 1 February.
We great stories along the way. But from the time, obviously, you were at Ohio State and you're trying to figure out which direction you're going to go. I know for a fact, I've heard it's a fact that you used to do some Cirque du Soleil work on a cruise ship. Now, I think it's hard enough to do it on flat ground. The fact that you did it on a cruise ship, how did you and the crew and the staff do that? Because I've been on these boats in the middle of the water. They don't sit still. So how on earth did you all pull off that kind of entertainment on a boat that never sits still?
There is really no professional gymnastics. So after I was done, I finished my academics. I finished college at Ohio State and gymnastics all in the same summer. So, something I've been doing since I was 6 years old, both came to an end, in the same month, basically, there in 96. And so I just wanted to play a little bit. I wanted to go out and experience life a little bit. And there's no professional gymnastics. So actually, Kurt Thomas, who was, a legend in our sport back in 79, world champion. And he started working on the cruise ship and getting into the Cirque du Soleil, performing on the cruise ship. And then it was followed by Lance Brignaud, who was a 1988 Olympic gymnast. And basically I was Lance's replacement. So I would go out and replace Lance for 3 or 4 months at a time. But it's challenging. And not only, is the stage moving, but it's hard wood. And, we're used to competing on mats and foam pits and things like that. And so a lot of times you're going to do a back handspring and you think the floor is going to be here and it's actually here. And so you just make those adjustments. But it certainly took its toll on my body, that's for sure.
I was going to say, it almost makes competing in the Olympics like you did almost like a cup of tea, right?
Right. Yeah. A lot of fun, though. I tell you, I got a chance to see the world and meet lots of great people. And so 2 years of that and then got into my coaching career.
All right. Great stuff. Appreciate your time and obviously the great work you've done and continued success keeping that culture and that work bar right where you guys have it every year on the gymnastics team.
Appreciate it, Pete. Thank you.
All right. Kip Simons joining us here on the Navy Sports Magazine.